celebrated it with a tweet today saying Dow hit 27,000 for the first time ever. And right here on Liquid Lunch, I've been telling you for about 2 weeks now, if we get through that 27,000, we close on a Friday on that. Any good news rockets this thing. 28, 29 are in range. Hey, welcome back. It's a Money Monday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're at the Newsmax headquarters in Midtown Manhattan. And on Money Monday, as you saw from that bump in, I've been calling for 27,000 as a major support level in the market for about 2 months now. The Dow, despite a lot of crazy things going out there in the geopolitical world, and the rate cut was 25 when some people were hoping for 50, but we still seem to be holding that 27,000, which is good news. And any further rate cuts or oil prices come back down. The president just said he's going to release some special reserve oil that we have. So any of those things come together, and I think from 27,000, we could be on a rocket shot. Larry Kudlow was on some of the news programs this weekend, and he was talking about tax cuts 2.0. So that's another thing that could really drive the market. And Bitcoin, which is seemingly a flight to safety trade. The market goes down. Bitcoin seems to be going up a little bit as an alt investment, but still holding that 10,000 number. And I want to get into that and all things new. We talked about traditional banking. Tom Coughlin joins me again. Tom, we talked about some of your traditional businesses like retail mortgage lending and interest and construction loans, and you guys are the best at that stuff. But you're also innovative. You're an old school banker, but you're quite a clever guy, and you know where there's opportunity, you want to take the bank in that direction. Cannabis seems to be an emerging opportunity, if you ask me. A lot of states are starting to approve it. First medical, now a lot of states are going recreational. But one of the big problems is, although the states are making it legal, the federal government still has it illegal, and the federal government says, well, if you have a federal charter from the FDIC, if you deal in cannabis, you could get sanctioned or lose your license. Is that right?
That's correct. So cannabis is an emerging market, and there's a major problem banking cannabis. Right now, our bank, we bank medical marijuana, industrial hemp, and CBD products. The problem gets to be with banking cannabis is at any given time, the federal government could say, you cannot do it anymore. So now there's a lot of companies with tons and tons of cash that are sitting in warehouses because they can't get it through the banking system. So that is a major problem.
So all this, it's legal by states, and that's why we're a republic, because the states have rights. But even though it's legal in the state, a federally chartered bank cannot deal in it. They can, but there is an outside risk that the feds can come in and say, stop this, or worse, right?
At any given time, they could make an edict and say, please stop banking cannabis. What we have to do is make sure that we follow all their rules and regulations. And that's like, we monitor every single transaction that goes through their checking account to make sure they're not doing black market cannabis. They're not laundering the money for cannabis purposes on the black market.
So you say at any time, I've dealt with regulators in a whole, in securities like the SEC and all this other stuff. With the FDIC, they come down and say, hey, would you please stop doing this? They like ask you nicely?
They're governed, cannabis is governed through the FDIC, through FinCEN. And FinCEN at any given time.
I know, like out in Colorado and out west, some of these banks won't touch it at all. They just don't even want to get that call. You guys have found a way that you think is well within your right to deal with hemp and
products.
CBD products are good. and in New Jersey, medical marijuana.
That's
right?
correct.
In New York, medical marijuana too, right?
That's correct.
So, what do you guys do to make sure you're not handling some black market cannabis?
John, every day, every single transaction on anybody we bank is monitored for unusualness, unusual activity. And we could pretty much figure out from that constant monitoring if money's coming in from out of states like Colorado that's doing recreational marijuana.
So they can't load up a truck full of cash from Colorado, drive down to Bayonne and dump it in an account. That's
However,
not legal.
we did have offers of that.
Oh,
and
you
we
did?
told them no. That is correct.
Oh, some of our audience members might want to know where those trucks are right now. But, so, Tom, in our last couple minutes here, credit to you guys for knowing exactly how to use the system to your advantage and be in these new places.
Right.
And, shareholders, I don't tell anybody to buy stock, but you should take a look at innovative companies like BCB.
Right.
They're publicly traded on the NASDAQ under the symbol BCBP. In our last minute, cryptocurrency is another hot button issue. Right. Bitcoin and all this other stuff. Do you have the innovation capabilities to start to service companies in that area too?
So we don't have the license to clear cryptocurrency, but what we do is we have a lot of mom and pop retail shops that are getting into the business that actually do the cryptocurrency business. Basically they need a banking account just like anybody else. We just got to monitor them the same way we do cannabis, because we got to make sure they're not clearing unless they have the proper licensing.
So there are ways that you can do it. And if you want to know how to do it, either crypto or cannabis, go check out Bayonne BCB Bank, where the headquarters is in Bayonne, and check out their stock symbol BCBP on the NASDAQ. Tom Coughlin, I want to thank you so much for being here.
Anytime, John.
On Money Monday, we bring you the money guests, and the CEO of BCB Bank is right at the top of the list. We take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Liquid Lunch Live is brought to you by BCB Bank. Count on